Welcome to this training for how to create a niche. I will try and make this as succinct and useful as possible. I will try not to waffle. You will be the judge if I've been successful in this endeavor. So I started my Facebook group, Charm Offensive, in March 2017. Now it is my full-time job. It's my career. It's my business. And I absolutely love it. I get to live on my own terms. I live a life without deadlines. I'm doing fulfilling work that massively helps other people. And I'm doing it in an original way. And I did this by creating my own weird little sub-niche. And I hope this training will show you how to do the same. So follow this, follow my advice, and hopefully you'll be able to get into the same position that I'm in. And that is always the goal I have when I do these, is like with the cold pitching training, using humor in cold emails and other cold pitches. I've really enjoyed watching people not only get results, but get to a position where they realize they can open, people realize they can open opportunities whenever they wish. Now I wish to do the same with creating a sub-niche. And there are key principles, like with the cold pitching, there are key principles and structures and all of that kind of stuff. There is for this as well. And I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first is, there are key questions that you have to ask yourself. Do you have something unique, or are you just creating another, say, B2B sales group? That's the biggest thing I see. The biggest reason I see for people failing is they just create something that's no different to what's already out there. So you have to ask yourself, okay, well, how do you create something new? There's a few different ways. One, like Charm Offensive, you can combine two elements that don't ordinarily go together. So with me, it was humor and business communications. In fact, people would tell you that is not a combination you should put together. People often said, never use humor in business. That defying convention and this combination of two things that don't ordinarily go together, that created something new and refreshing, and it resonated, and it got people interested. It was unique. Another way you can do it is to have a system. So maybe you don't have something that defies convention, like the drunk cold email, but maybe you've got a system for generating leads through Facebook, and it's unique to you. You've got there's something about it or the way that you've parceled it together and put it together and made it easy to understand, that's yours. So you can you can create a system, and because it's yours, the way you teach it and the way you've structured it, you can give it a name, and that is your system. So you can do it that way as well, as long as it works. Obviously, it's got to be effective. And then I think the most important one is how you deliver that information. Can you teach people something difficult and make it easy to digest? So you have to make sure that you can deliver that in some kind of way that is not being done already. So for example, I mocked the idea of starting another B2B sales group earlier, but if you did start one and you were able to teach stuff in a way that made people smile, made them laugh, and taught them, you've got something. That is the single biggest factor I see with Facebook groups or other tribes, why they don't work out. They're just saying the same thing everyone else says. I actually got an email the other day. I've been reading these emails from a particular marketer, and it's just so generic. There's nothing that separates what this person is saying from anyone else. It's just regurgitated. There's no reason for someone to follow you in that case. There's loads of people that are good. There's loads of people that can get results. You need more than that. You've got to stand out. And those are the real key ways. Is A, can you create something unique? You've got something that defies convention. Granted, not everyone will have that. That is obviously something that is an ideal situation to be in. Second way, you create a system, so the way you've packaged up something that people already teach, say Facebook ads or cold pitching even, whatever it might be. You've got a system that's different, and well, maybe not even different, but the way you teach it, the way you've parceled it together makes it different. And thirdly, you stand out by actually being entertaining. And that is the hugest factor, the biggest factor of why groups succeed or they don't, or why email lists succeed or they don't. They need to be able to entertain as well as educate and sell. Another way actually is to focus on something, is to niche down, and this is why you see super specific groups like the a group for mother entrepreneurs with anger issues. You know, that's a ridiculous example, but that you see people really like super niche down in that way. Another way to niche down is to go after one thing very specific. So say within email marketing, focus just on open rates and subject lines. That's your thing. There's a free idea for you. Find some particular section of a discipline, a particular important variable, and become the go-to expert on that thing. That doesn't mean you have to be the subject line / open rate expert forever, but you've got something to start with that is unique. Oh, look at this person. This person is just focusing on this. That's unusual, and it must be. And also, because you're just focusing on one thing, people will assume, oh God, that he is the expert on this. It may only be on this very little one topic, but that's the expert on it. And then you can grow from there. That's what I've done with Charm Offensive. I started off with just talking about the drunk cold email. That was all it was about. Now it's all about, it's obviously cold pitching still, but it's about how to write funny, disarming copy, Facebook ads even, how to build a tribe, how to write copy that converts. I've gone into all sorts of areas. The Charm Offensive style fits with any sector, any channel, any level of seniority. So you don't have to think that just because you pick this super niche thing to be an expert on, that you have to stick with it. But it is massively advantageous because it will automatically make you stand out. People will want to talk to you because, oh, you're that person that is the open rates guy or girl, or man or lady, or man or woman. So have a think about that. These are key questions, and the grail is obviously to have something unique, have a system that is packaged up that people can follow, and you can deliver entertaining. Don't worry if you can't tick all those boxes. If you can only tick one, make it the last one, though. That is the single most important thing. Don't start something and then just write method posts of how to do stuff and think it's going to work. Like, even if you get great results, so many other people have that. You need something that you need to be distinct, essentially. That is what this slide boils down to. And hopefully I've provided you with some ideas of how to do that. And one way of achieving that last goal, by the way, is just go with the blunt and no bullshit approach. So many of these groups are filled with ego and a particular form of, I don't know, they seem filled with jargon and not genuine. I'm not thinking anyone particular, but there is a trend. And you can always counter that, and you can always find advantage in being the no bullshit place to get information on this topic, as long as you actually are, that is actually true. So some examples of other distinct Facebook groups. There's a few that I've got to mention because they're Charm Offensive professional members. Not just that, they are actually distinct groups. I wouldn't mention them just because they were professional members. Chris McCluskey's memification, crush your social media with images. That's interesting. There is an example for you of what I spoke about in the last slide, he's picked thumb-stopping images, social media images. How do you create images for Facebook and other networks that make people stop scrolling? That's a real niche thing to focus on. And he's doing well because of it. He's able to teach it. There's a methodology. And he's done well, obviously, not only because he's got a growing group and he's selling courses, but it's actually helped him understand his offering better, even his one-to-one client work. Another difference is, another example of this is Tenacious Marketing is a cold calling group by my friend, Daryl Warner. And he's different because a lot of the sales call groups are all these macho hardcore closer groups. And he's a very disarming man from the UK who's been doing this 21 years. He doesn't have any of that mentality that those other groups do. So he stands out because of that. And then the one I do have to mention is the group that did definitely influence Charm Offensive, which was the Cult of Copy. And if you look at the Cult of Copy, you'll notice that there's an atmosphere. There is an atmosphere in that group. There is a culture. There is something intangible. The way he delivers his sort of lessons to his members, and then the way they sort of try and replicate him. And there was just something there that I had to do a paid call with him, and thank God I did, because it led to me starting Charm Offensive. Because he said, yeah, you've got something unique enough here, and I think with your enthusiasm, you can make it work. And that's very important. And he said that to me as well. The main reason groups fail is the person that runs them is just not able to make it interesting. That really is absolutely key. So definitely take a look at those groups. A snapshot of your methodology. So essentially this is a lead magnet, or you could also have it as an email sequence or a series of posts in your group. You write 10 posts that introduces people to what you're about, what your methodology is about. So in mine, there is theory posts on how my approach is different. There are method posts on how to write funny, how to write comic triple, how to write a reverse. And there's a little bit of motivational stuff in there where I'm trying to get people to go for it and tell them that they should try this unusual method of cold pitching. This is referenced in my cold email stuff. So you need to summarize in 10 posts your methodology, and then if you could turn that into a nice looking PDF, find a good designer. If you wish to use the brilliant designer illustrator I use, Louise at louisecarrier.co.uk. You can also find her in the Charm Offensive Facebook group. She's very good. So have a look on the Charm Offensive group and look at the pin post, and you'll see there's a link to key posts. Have a look at that and go through those posts. That's what I've done for mine. You need to do that for your methodology. Another example of this, if you go into Chris's group, Crush Your Social Media with Images, he's got the same, because obviously I've told him that's the thing you should do. So those are 2 examples there of those. And then you can turn that information into a beautiful, well, not beautiful, but good-looking lead magnet. And that's useful not only because you're creating something, obviously, to get people to opt into your email list, but it helps clarify your thinking. It helps you realize and figure out what really are the key components of this thing you're putting together. So take a look at the examples there, and you'll get an idea, and figure out how can I do that, but for my fledgling new tribe, new niche. The key growth drivers. So you may not know this, but the Charm Offensive group started in March 2017, but I launched my draft of my ebook, Win with Words, in October 2016. And I did that because I know Charlie Price, who runs the Traffic and Copy Facebook group, which when I did this, it had, I think, like 22,000, or maybe even more than that, 28,000. It was in the 20,000s, 20,000 members, 20 to 28,000 members. And I just asked Charlie, do you mind if I asked people if they'd like a draft of my ebook? I had the screenshots of my cold email, of responses to my cold emails. I wrote a post introducing vaguely, but without giving detail, as to my approach to cold email and why it was different. And I asked, would you like a draft? Please comment if you do. And it got a great response. And I started sending my draft ebook out. And I'll be honest with you, when I was sending it out, I was worried, because this was my magic trick. You know, I used to get worried when people used to put my emails on Twitter or my letters on Twitter. I'd be like, oh no, the world's going to find out. And obviously that was silly. That's a silly mindset. That's one thing that I changed massively. I realized, like, oh yeah, we're not all emailing the same person. And it was the best. You know, I could have very easily made the decision, like, John, why are you giving this ebook out for free to people? You're giving away your secrets. You're giving away everything. Thankfully, I quashed that impulse, and that's probably the best business decision I've made in a long time. I started getting responses back from people who wanted it, and I sent my ebook on, and some people implemented my advice and started getting results very quickly. And that started to build up a following. People started adding me on Facebook and sending me screenshots of the results they'd got. And that massively helped me, you know, because I had a little, you know, I didn't have it, you know, it was maybe 100 people I sent the ebook to. Those were people that I immediately invited to the Facebook group as soon as I started it. So that's a strategy you consider. Can you write a short ebook? This was 35 pages, I think, or 31 pages or 35 pages, very small ebook. Had typos in it. I think I even forgot to put track changes off or something like that. So when I sent the PDF, there was bits that were highlighted in red. And so if you think you have to have the perfect, and it wasn't designed. There was no design. It was pure text with errors. It was ugly, but it worked. So if you're one of those people that is not putting their lead magnet out there because there's a particular wrong shade of beige and you want to make sure the typeface is perfect, stop right now. And please stop being a perfectionist, because that will stop you succeeding far more than anything else. I'm not saying do as bad as I did and put out something that, frankly, I should have put a bit more effort in, but don't think you've got to be a perfectionist. I am proof that if you've got something that works, get it out there. Please get it out there. That was a little bit too, I hammed it up a little bit too much there. Media hacking, the next thing for growth, media hacking. So when I started my group, as I say, I had the call with Colin from the Cult of Copy. And he said to me, there's no one doing what you're doing, but the closest I can think of is a guy called Ben Settle. And Ben Settle is all about, he's got an innovative approach to opt-in email marketing. It's completely different, and it does work. So I looked at his stuff, and I saw he had a media page, and I just contacted a load of the podcasts he was on, such as Kevin Rogers, Michael Senoff, the Sales Evangelist, sent them a cold pitch with my, my charming style, and I got onto those, and that really helped me grow in the first few months. I can't remember the exact date I was on these podcasts, but it was from April, June, July. That's when I was on those various podcasts, and they did definitely help me grow. So make sure, though, this is why you need something unique and something distinct. So, because if you approach those podcasts and you go, yeah, I launched a new B2B sales group, and we talk about prospecting and closing deals, and why are they going to have you on? There's no point, unless you're hilarious and you can make, you've got some other value to bring. They're not going to listen to your request. You need an interesting story, or you need to do something specific. So I've got the drunk cold email story. that has helped me massively. I understand not everyone can have a drunk cold email story or a accidental drunk moment that benefits them. That's why you need something unique. So if you go in with, I'm the expert on open rates, or I am the expert on calls to action, or headlines, or whatever it might be, some small thing, then you've got something unique. Then you don't need a drunk cold email story. You've got so that the hook is then not in the story, but the specificity of which you're an expert. So this is why this is important. It's not just to be different for frivolous purposes. There's very important reasons for doing this, and this is one of them, is that you'll be able to get onto podcasts and people will talk about you because you're doing something unique. You've found some way of standing out, and I've provided a few ways of you doing that in the previous slides. So this really helped me. Probably in the first few months, this was the biggest driver of new members in the first few months of Charm Offensive. And it's about actually, amusingly, it is going to, I'm on a podcast in October, which is October 11th, which is coming up very soon. That may, it's a big one. It might be a game changer to me. I am not sure at the moment, but it could be. So I started out building my group with podcasts, and it looks like the next big leap I'm about to make is also going to be on a big podcast. So this is powerful stuff if you get it right. Using LinkedIn for growth. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, set one up. Get LinkedIn Sales Navigator if you can afford it. I think it's $70 a month or something like that. Find your ideal prospects. You can search by so many different, you can search using so many different search filters using LinkedIn. It is the most granular database, B2B database there is, I believe. I can't imagine there is another bigger. And you can find pretty much any professional on there. You know, if you want to find marketing directors that work in London in the fashion industry that have been in the job less than 90 days, you can find that exact prospect using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. It's really, 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 really good for that. So what I suggest is you get your LinkedIn profile set up, if you haven't already, and you start adding 50 people a day. Use the search and add 50 people a day that are your ideal group members or tribe members. And then when you post on LinkedIn relevant content or links to your Facebook group or to your opt-in, it's that exact audience that's going to see it. You can also send direct messages. And dependent on your risk tolerance, you can automate this. This is against terms of service. If you use tools like Linked Helper, that you do risk, that there is a risk there. I can't say there is no risk. There is risk. So it's up to you. If you wish to automate, obviously there are benefits to that for speed. But I would also say that there are benefits to doing it manually. Because when you automate, you do lose some of the accuracy. You're not going to, all the people you connect to, not all of them are going to be relevant. Whereas if you do it manually, you know that every single one you have handpicked. So I would actually suggest start doing it manually, just to see it. Because you will also get an idea of how to find the right prospects. You'll get better at doing that. But if you do hate doing that process and you don't wish to outsource it, you can automate. But I would suggest actually these days start with manual. I think it will be worth the time because you can really find people that are perfect fit. And if you know who your clients are, their attributes that you're looking for, LinkedIn is great for that. So start adding 50 people a day and start posting content that's relevant, that's going to be helpful to them, and then link to your group, link to your email list. And then start sending some direct messages. And that is a great way of getting people into your group, especially if you do real one-to-one messages. There's someone doing this actually at the moment. Richard Fletcher, who's in Charm Offensive Professionals. He's grown his group from 0 to I think over 1,500 or thereabouts in maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I don't know the exact figure. And he's done that by contacting people one-to-one. I think he's been doing it more on Facebook, but the same can be done with LinkedIn. There's a little bit of effort there because you've got to do a bit of personalization. But if you put in the effort, you can grow a group fast. And also another benefit of doing it manually would be, I think, that you would get better engagement if you're doing, because you're finding people that really do want, that are going to be the best fit. But I won't lie, when I started my group, I used automation. So I am not going to pretend that I'm holier than thou, because I am very much not. Relationship building. This is key because you need to get in front of people who already have an audience. So I contacted, well, actually, I was contacted first by Aaron Krall of SaaS Growth Hacks. He had a group with, I think, 4,000 people at the time. And he got in touch and he said, I love what you're doing. You've got, so people are just so curious about what you're doing. You've got an amazing, he gave me tips, which I took and I implemented. And I was like, oh, I realize this now. I need to build relationships with other group owners. And that's what I've done. I've reached out to I won't mention specifics. Actually, one in particular that was very important to me was Dan Meredith of Coffee with Dan and his paid group Espresso with Dan. He made an announcement that he wanted to do a meetup at a bar. Didn't want to be stuck in front of his computer all the time. Let's work from this bar tomorrow. Come and see me. It's a chance to say hi. I did that. I spoke to him at the end of the day. And then I handed him this book on joke writing. And I had this planned. I remember in the morning, I was umming and ahhing and putting it in my bag and taking it out. And I was like, no, take it and you can give it him if the moment is, if opportunity presents itself and you deem it to be okay. And I did, and because I knew that he wanted to be a stand-up, well, he wanted to try stand-up comedy. And I knew I had this book because I had previously done stand-up. I'm not doing it anymore. That should say how good I was at it. It was just an open mic. I'm not going to make any, give any pretense there was anything more. But I had this book and I knew it was good. And I knew that he wanted to learn stand-up. So I handed him the book and that got his attention. It made him remember me. He wrote a post about the little bit of extra effort I made. And he knew what I was doing. He knew that it was a nice gesture, but he ultimately knew that I wanted to get on his radar. So he was completely cool with that. And he wrote a post congratulating my approach. And that helped me a great deal. He did put me on webinars to his Coffee with Dan audience and then with his paid audiences as well. And that really helped me grow. That was just a little of extra effort. I followed him on social. I knew that he had this interest. I knew I had something that would be helpful. And I went for it. I could have easily not, but I'm very glad I did. That was another huge thing that helped me grow because, it's not only that he has a big following, but it's, I wouldn't say an endorsement, but it is somewhat like that. There's some of his credibility passes onto the people that he helps. And this is something you need to do, is to find people that are further along than you and figure out how to get their attention. I did that with a book, but I also did it with, if I didn't have if I didn't know I could meet someone in person, or I didn't have their snail mail address, their mailing address, I would have created some illustration or design that references something that they like. So I'll give an example. There was a guy that on his profile, he liked hip hop and he liked wine. And obviously I had his name because he put it on Twitter. So I created this, I had designed this fun wine bottle that was something like Jacob's hip hop wine, and it had his picture on the caricature style, and it was fun. And I used that to get his attention. So can you look at their social media and then go to Fiverr, or if you know a designer or illustrator, if you don't, go to Fiverr or People Per Hour or one of those sites, and just have something illustrated that uses their likeness and things that they like together and creates something fun. It could be a movie poster starring them. It depends on their interests. A little bit of extra effort goes a massive way. And this is key. And I do this as well, actually. I go after people now. Go after people sounds a bit violent. Obviously, you want to try and get people that are more influential than you, and you want to get their attention. And then you want to hopefully speak to their audience. But I do something else. I actually find people that don't have huge followings, but I see that they've just started, and if I see they've got something unique and interesting, I'll reach out to them and I will offer them, come and do a Facebook Live, I will promote you. You seem like an interesting person to speak to. This provides no immediate benefit to me. If anything, it's siphoning off money that to other people that could be mine. And you might be thinking, that's terrible business advice, John. No, it's not. At least it's not for the reason you think it is. You got to think long term. And I know I'm doing this mostly, obviously, because I like to help people and promote people. I have that ability. But also, it's when they grow, they're going to remember that. They're going to remember you helped them get their start. And that may or may not benefit me. But I'm not thinking about that. It may seem unpalatable that you're going to do something helpful that may incur some minor loss of transaction, although that's theoretical, for no obvious long-term benefit. I think you should still do it. Because this is how you create, because they will remember. They will remember that, and other people may remember that. So that last part, you might think, I don't understand the logic behind that. I still think you should do it. The former, the logic is absolutely there. You're targeting people that have already got audiences, and you're trying to get their attention with the aim of hopefully they will allow you to speak to their audience and give value. So this is really important. This is another reason why I think I have done well, is I'm good at this, because I've worked at agencies for so long, and I'm naturally a pretty gregarious person, that this is a really useful skill. But luckily, I think anyone can be good at this. If you've got friends, I think you can probably do this, because that's all it is you're just trying to have conversations with people that are going to be beneficial to you. Content distribution. A fancy way of saying post in other groups, but I didn't want to put that as the headline. So I started doing this when I first started my group, and I didn't have many people in it. I went to Badass Marketers and Founders. I think I went to Coffee and Dan, Traffic and Copy, Millennium Entrepreneurs Group, and there may have been others. Cult of Copy as well, maybe. And what I would do is I would post these long, I would basically write a very, very long post that gave away loads of useful information, and then used the image attachment to include screenshots from my responses to cold pitches. So I had a really valuable post that didn't give everything away, but gave enough information to be useful. And then the images had that element of curiosity. So in my case, it was screenshots of responses to cold emails that were glowing and saying all these nice things. For you, it might be testimonials. It might be, although that might come off a bit pitchy. You don't want to come off pitchy. It might be a result. You might show a screenshot from analytics, or an SEO screenshot, like SEO position screenshot, or a position from a monthly report, whatever it might be, something that goes away to proving your method works. And by doing this, and you can't add a link, obviously, no spamming in other people's groups, offer value, curiosity photo, post it in the group. When people engage, add them as friends. When people like, comment, add them as friends on Facebook. I remember when my Facebook, I didn't used to add any business people to Facebook. Now it's mostly business people. And to maximize how effective this is, change your cover photo, your personal cover photo, to advertise your group, and put on it, click here for more information, so that when they click that, there will be a clickable link in the description. And you can change the left-hand side of Facebook. You can add a tagline, you can add URLs, you can have your main, you can have the first post on your news feed as a link to your group or your opt-in. So really maximize that real estate of your Facebook profile. Have as many links going to where you want to take people. That might be an opt-in, that might be a Facebook group, that might be a combination. So when you post content in other groups, when you post that long useful post with curiosity photos, you're going to get attention. And then you add those people because they've engaged positively with your content. I wouldn't engage with people that engage. I would not engage with people that have said negative things, although I doubt many people will, if at all. But any positive engagement, add those people. You could just keep doing this, by the way. You can find loads. There's so many groups that are active. If you just really went after this, you could build up a real big number of people using this strategy. It's an effective one. Obviously, you need to have different content if you want to post in the same group frequently. But to start with, perhaps have one long method post that gives valuable information, and then just take that to different groups that are relevant. Don't post. One thing I would recommend is don't do the thing that is obvious, where you're posting the same content in every group on the same day. Because believe me, as an admin, you see Joe has posted this content in here, or and then you see that they're trying to get it approved in your group, and then they're posting in others, and you're like, no, I'm not going to approve it. This is not. If you're going to do this, make sure you post in different groups on different days. That is what I will say with that. Or vary the content. And then finally, this is a route I use for. I used to use it to get people into the group. Not very much, actually. I only spent a small, very, very small amount, maybe $50, but to get people into the group. But the reason I'm telling you this is I did something somewhat clever that worked. Is I targeted with my Facebook ads a lookalike audience, 1% lookalike audience of my email subscribers. But I also made it that it narrowed the targeting down, and also so they had to be a lookalike of my audience, but they also had to like Hunter S. Thompson or Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's my favorite author, or one of my favorite authors. And then I styled the ad to look kind of trippy and use the kind of language that Hunter S. Thompson used. And it worked. I got comments saying Hunter S. Thompson, and people went into the group. And I don't know why I stopped doing that. Actually, I do know why I stopped doing that. Is because I went to focus on getting people on my email list. And then I would get them into the group. And I think that is the route you should take as well. So I've got a Facebook ad that basically tells my drunk cold email story and offers them a lead magnet. And the people that are targeted are a 1% lookalike audience of my email subscribers and my customers. But I would suggest this is really Facebook ads. It's really, if you really want to scale up quick, Facebook ads can do that really well, especially for building people to your list. If you're trying to get people into a group, I would use the organic tactics. The stuff that I've mentioned previously. But I won't lie, you can pretty much scale stuff to the moon with Facebook ads. So making every interaction matter. This is another crucial part. So when you email your list, you should sometimes try and get responses. You know, I know you want to get clicks, you want to make sales. I think sometimes instead of saying click here to see my new ebook or whatever it is that you're giving away, instead say, if you'd like my new ebook on X, hit reply. I'd love to hear from you. You'll start getting responses. This is beneficial from a technical standpoint because when you get replies, it increases your deliverability rate. I believe that is true. I can't cast iron and say that's true, but I sense there's logic to that, and it makes reasonable sense. But even if not, you're building rapport with your email subscribers, which is good. And it's more likely your email is going to go to the inbox rather than the promotions folder if they reply to stuff. One little trick here In the first email of your autoresponder sequence, where you're giving them your lead magnet, so in my case, my magic email cheat sheet, in the PS of that first email, it says, would you like to see the exact copy? If so, hit reply. Would you like to see the exact copy I sent in my drunk cold email? If so, hit reply. So I get loads of replies from people who have just joined my list. And that enables me to have conversations with some of them. Some of them aren't interested. They just want the cold email. They just want the exact copy. They don't want to get into a conversation. But others, I can ask questions. And it's just that little bit of one-to-one attention. It makes a huge difference. It really does. It's one of those little things that you can't really. It works because you can't scale it efficiently, and that's why it works, because it's one-to-one. It's a one-to-one little touch. But luckily, it doesn't take long to type, so you can do it at scale. But there's no. You could automate the replies part. So if someone replies, it sends them the drunk cold email copy. In my case, that's not what I'm talking about. The thing you can't scale efficiently is that one-to-one conversation that you're going to have. Hopefully. They ask for the drunk cold email copy. In my case, it might be something. It'd be something different in your case. Then you can ask, like, here's the copy. I'd love to learn more about what you do, or how's business. I'm constantly doing this when I speak to people. Obviously some things have to be functional, but a lot of the time I get into conversations with everyone I possibly can. I have so many conversations every day, and they're just short little chats. And I do it mostly because I'm gregarious and I like to learn about people, but it has business benefit. There's absolutely no doubt. Oops. Oh, I nearly fell there. Oops. New group members. There's a function on Facebook where you can welcome your new group members. I suggest you use it, but you write something unique. When I do it, I say something like, oh my God, what happened? Someone left the door open. We've got all these new members that want to come in. And then I go, here they are, by order of Moxie. And then the list of the new members. And then I say, please feel free to introduce yourself and spam your URL. And you will no doubt be the recipient of many dozens of new visitors. So I make a joke out of it. I recommend you do the same. It's these little one-to-one, because then when people comment on that post where you've welcomed the new members, you can get into conversations. Like sometimes it's as simple as me just going, thank you for joining, Josh. Thank you for joining Charm Offensive. But sometimes it's like, thank you for joining, Josh. I can see from the profile what they do. And if it is genuinely impressive or I'm genuinely intrigued, I will ask. This is the biggest, you know what, I think the single biggest difference between my way of thinking and a lot of people's way of thinking is that I don't like tricks. Like all of this stuff I'm doing is genuine. I'm not doing any of this stuff only for the self-interested purposes. I would do this anyway. I like talking to people. So that's something you need to think about is, and I get this a lot when I send emails out and say I mess up. You know, I put the wrong link in an email, and then I have to send an apology and say I've messed up. I'm sorry, here's the correct link. I get replies going, that's a very clever engagement trick. And I have to I have to explain. It's like, please, no, it's incompetence. I would much rather people call me incompetent than duplicitous and dishonest. And I'm telling you this for a reason, which is it's a mindset thing. You stop thinking about tricking people and start thinking about how you can serve them better and how you can reach out to them and make every interaction matter with them. And I know that is not scalable. That's not a particularly nice shortcut. It's a long cut. It's not a long cut. I don't know what the opposite would be. It's the scenic route. But that's how I've done well. Tribes are built one person at a time. Every little one-to-one interaction. It adds up. That is the charm offensive. It's not just about writing drunk emails, it's about making every interaction matter. And then on that note, more importantly, not more importantly, but if someone does post and they're struggling, reach out to them one-to-one, send them a message, send them some ebook that you would normally charge for, say it's on the house, offer what advice you can. Those people may never buy from you. They might do, but they will become your biggest advocates. If you genuinely help them, and then obviously they've got to implement that advice, that's not on you, those people will become your biggest advocates because you've helped them at a time when they were struggling and you came through and you gave them something that they would ordinarily have to pay for that they might not be able to afford. And you help them in a big way. And this feels really good. I remember when I started my group, I helped people for free. I offered mentorship for a month for free, and I took on people and I helped them get results. And that's what built my testimonials, my people who started posting their screenshots. So to start with, people would message me saying, I got this amazing result, I got this response. And I would ask them to post it. Do you mind posting that? And they'd go, yeah, of course, of course. Now, that's just a behavior everyone does. It's built in, it's a thing that people do. And it's not seen as people bragging, it's seen as people celebrating that this method works and trying to inspire other people to give it a go. So this is really key. And also it's just a good thing to do. You know, I'm making good money, but I can say with complete honesty that the helping people and seeing how well they've done and helping people succeed, that's the best part of all this. Is not even the most impressive ones. You know, when people say I've made 40 grand a month, I'm making 40 grand a month, 50 grand a month from your strategies. Those feel good. Obviously, that feels great. But I actually like even more people that it's like I had no hope, and now I got a job at a marketing agency, and I feel like I could do anything. I could live anywhere in the world. I can. That's the best feeling. And just one lately. I'm going to ruin the profound tone that I've adopted because I do have to brag about one in particular lately. I've helped a singer-songwriter in LA get meetings with music execs. That's the really cool thing. That guy's actually a Charm Pro member. It's not someone I just helped randomly, but it's just on that topic. This is why this stuff is really good. Is you get to help people, and as a result, I've found the more I help people, the better I do, and it's just a good system. So I will cease that particular slide there. Promote your audience members. Again, you're like, well, John, what? Promote my audience members? How am I making money from this? Again, your thinking is wrong. Well, maybe not completely wrong, but you should be trying to make a community. And you want to make your members feel important. And you want other people to post stuff. And the way to do that is to mention your other members. Make it a community. You need to make it so it's not just the John Buchan show, and obviously replace John Buchan with your name. So have every week do a community spotlight, where you spotlight one member of your community and promote them. People will see that you've got the confidence to do that. I have promoted people that are could be considered direct competitors to me. That shows confidence, and people notice that. That's a mindset thing that you need to resolve. You need to. There's something about using this system of goodwill to your advantage. This is something you don't need money. You can use money to grow your group. Use Facebook ads. You can grow your email list. Fine. But you can use something far less expensive than that, and it indeed doesn't cost at all, which is goodwill. And this is this is what we're doing. If you promote your audience members, they're going to remember that, even if they didn't get a huge bump. You know, it's the gesture. And when you do grow and you've got the gesture plus, oh, I actually did get some customers from this, they're going to remember that. You're building up goodwill that you can cash in at a later date. And again, I don't do any of this stuff deliberately for this purpose. It is just a nice side effect. So this is another thing, promote. You need to get into the understanding that you need to make this community more than just about you. And as I said, leveraging goodwill at scale. So you've been doing all of this stuff where you've getting responses and you get into conversations, you're helping new group members, people that need help, you're promoting your audience members in your group, which your email list. By the way, when I say group, I can mean email list, it can mean whatever community that you're specifically promoting to or creating. You build up all of this goodwill, and then when you ask for favors, such as, do you mind liking and commenting on this LinkedIn post, because it will give me far more reach and that helps my business. So you could use that to get people to an opt-in page or to buy, in the middle of a launch. You can get this extra reach. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't do all of this stuff. I wouldn't have earned the right to ask favors of my audience. But because I have, that's a huge advantage. If I want, I can put a post on LinkedIn now, and I can get my audience to engage with it, and I could have 1,000 new email addresses on my list, depending on what the lead magnet was and all the other details. But that's a huge benefit, and this is something that scales, because the bigger my audience is, the bigger the benefit of network effect. The bigger my audience is, the more exponentially beneficial is the effect of these little cross-pollination promotions. So if I post something, say, on LinkedIn, and I ask my audience to like and comment on it, that's going to have a much bigger effect as my audience grows. So there's an exponential benefit there too. Making money. First thing is, you need to pre-sell products all the time. Just keep doing it. So many people hesitate, and that's another big issue I've seen with people starting groups and such is hesitation and not testing enough. You can't test in your head. Let the market decide. Don't put it off. You might put it off. You're worried it's not going to work. No. You need to keep getting feedback from the market. Sometimes it's not nice. I've had things I've worked on that I thought people should love, but no, I got it wrong. It's not the customer's fault. You got the offer wrong. The only way to get better at coming up with offers and coming up with copy that converts is to keep doing it. So what I would suggest is you come up with, if you're starting out, the first thing you do is an ebook on your topic, and you create a time-limited offer, and you pitch it to your list, you pitch it to your group, and then you'll see what the response is. If the response is good, if they like this ebook, can we create a template pack? Can we create a full course? Could you create a high-ticket coaching offer around it? But it all starts with the theme and the concept of that first ebook, like I did with Win with Words. I didn't immediately try and create a huge course. No, I created a little ebook and get feedback that way. The benefit of this pre-selling is if you do pre-sell something and you sell 0, or you sell 1 or 2, you can decide, I don't think I should make this, and you can just give people refunds. Or if you've sold just about enough, you should make it, and then you realize, okay, I'm not going to create another product in that particular theme or whatever it might be, because it just didn't do. You get better over time. But you need to keep doing it, and you cannot sit on stuff and think that you can theorize, and you're just going to, you're not clever enough to. That sounds really rude. You're not cleverer than the market. Ultimately, that decides. So you need to keep, especially when you start, keep doing this. Start with ebooks. Then when you find some themes that work, then you can pre-sell a course, pre-sell a template pack, or whatever it might be, or a training video. And then keep doing it and keep testing. And a little tip on this, if you go to deadlinefunnel.com, you can set up these funnels where you can do time-limited offers, and it'll automatically redirect when the offers are, the countdown clock's expired, and you can use the countdown clock in your emails and all that kind of fun stuff. So do check out deadlinefunnel.com. So that is my advice. You need to keep building new stuff, and this is what I've done over the last 18 months from March 2017, although I didn't start making products other than the initial ebook. I think I started making products in April, and I started making money, and I've just kept doing this. I have launched so many things, and this isn't just new products, but also bundles. You can bundle things up, see how that goes down. There's all sorts of things you could test. So you're not just testing new products, you're testing new offers, new combinations of products that go together, new bonuses, new time-limited offers, such as if you buy this course today, you'll get a one-to-one session with me. These are all the things that you've got to test. And you will get better. You will get better by doing it. You'll get better by failing, and the clangers that make you yell at the screen and go, how can they not want my amazing offer? And then you obviously come down and realize, oh, that was my fault. I need to come up with a better offer. And you will get better at this. That's not to say that you become so fluent as you never fail, but you will get better at it. And there's only one way to do that. So please don't sit on ideas. Have an idea, think it's worthwhile, get a sales page up, get a deadline on it, sell it, see if it works, and keep doing it. And then, when you've got enough products, so I've got loads of template packs, loads of courses, training videos, ebooks, all sorts. Maybe, I think there's over $10,000 worth of stuff in Charm Offensive Professional. I recommend that you do this too, because it's retained income. It's the difference between having project work and retainer work. If you're thinking about client stuff, client work, this is similar. You can just keep doing launches forever. And this was a decision I had to make. Was I could probably short term. I probably could have made more money just doing standalone launches. But I was thinking long term. I wanted to start a subscription offering where everyone could get access to all of my materials for an affordable fee, or at least affordable to most. There's an added benefit to this, is that you've got retained income. Obviously not, because people can leave any time, at least with my subscription, and people obviously do. But we recruit more members than we lose, and we can work on optimizing so we lose less, reduce churn, and we every time we do a launch, we get new members. We can obviously optimize that. But the real benefit to this is that you create a new community out of having a paid subscription, especially if you have a separate Facebook group for your premium members. And that's really cool, because you find in that premium group, that's your real go-getter, ambitious people that are really going to use your knowledge and take it and try and win with it. And it builds a scalable, you can scale this forever. So when I go on this big podcast next month, it's not actually more work. If I get loads of new subscribers to Charm Offensive Professional, or if I get loads of new people buying a template pack, it's no more work for me. That's why it's so powerful. I know there's probably some people thinking here, like, why have you not mentioned high ticket? I am going to do a high ticket offer next month, but I am going to make it very, very high ticket. I want to make it expensive to do one-to-one stuff with me. I need to know people are dedicated, so I'm going to charge a good amount for it. But I think the central part should be a subscription offering, just because of its scalability. So I would pick that because I like the fact that I've got not passive income, but regular income that doesn't require my diary to be full of meetings and deadlines. I really like that. Now, you might not mind that. You might say, I'd rather focus on high ticket. Granted, I won't have as much free time, depending on the offer. That is your call. But I recommend the process you go through is you start by launching individual products and start with small ones like ebooks, judge the success, and then decide what to build based on the sales of those smaller products. And then you keep building and you keep building and you keep doing that process until you've got enough products that you think, yeah, I think I could build a subscription offering. And then you can give access to all of your materials for a fee and access to a private Facebook group. And then if you so wish, like I have done, you could add a optional high ticket option where if people want access to you one-to-one, they have to pay a lot of money. But as I say, I think the basis, the main focus should be on a subscription offering just because it's just so scalable and it's the least stress. But that is my personal opinion. That is the route that I have gone and it's working for me. So I feel like I should tell you that. And then, yeah, that's all I've got to do now is scale, which is going to happen next month. I hope. Hopefully I've said all this now, it's not just going to be a complete flop, but I'm reasonably confident that is not going to be the case. And this is a good place to be in. You can get there. If I can do this, if I can make a business off a drunk cold email, you can do it with your thing, whatever that might be. Just follow the advice in this training. And if you need any help, if you're watching this and you have any questions, please do email me, john@charm-offensive.co.uk. That's john@charm-offensive.co.uk. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this was useful. I actually had to re-record this. I recorded it yesterday, and the sound cut out 26 minutes in. So I've had to I had to record it all. But actually, I think this is, I have waffled less on this, so maybe it was the right thing to happen. Thank you very much for listening. I really hope you do this. As much as I love cold pitching and I love the results people have got, I want more people to be able to have a business like Charm Offensive, where you sell your expertise at scale and you launch a subscription site. And just the freedom you have, which I don't use to my advantage as much as I should. I just work all the time. But but if so inclined, you could have a life that's far more leisurely. And I plan on obviously doing that at some point. But I'm a work addict. But I do like the fact that I live on my own terms, completely on my own terms. And I don't have any deadlines other than ones I've set for myself. It's a real nice life, and yes, it's incredibly scalable. I'm going to shut up now and just say I hope you give this a shot. If you have any questions, send me an email. Thank you very much.